Good afternoon, everyone. This day I want to explain the activity for this first midterm. Now, this midterm consists in the different question. Now, this question I got to answer. I don't say the question, just said the answer of the question. Okay. The number one is for me. One of the most important moments would be what happened in the Tower of Babel, since there is no as for me one of the events that explode the world with the interpretation, since through that the people decide to learn new language to be able to explore any language of that the new knowledge with the use of different language or a language for a better communication, or the language from over the world different with the translator on the skill that every good interpreter must develop in this post we are going to devote in the history of this profession, how translator and how since ancient times it has evolved to reach what they know today. Now, they are orthographic signs that indicate the production of a pause in the sentences or the way in which it should be understood, as when we use the interrogative sign or interrogative question, which indicate that the sentences is a question. Punctuation marks have very important function because they help everything written to be read and understood in a fluid and clearly way. Now, for example, can you help me please? And another example, Juan will buy chair, a closet, table, a washing machine. You can understand this the use of the comma when I say buy chair, a closet, comma, and washing machine. That's it. The translation can be defined as the interlingual transfer of the text, because carried out with the greatest possible fidelity. It's obvious that a text cannot be transferred with all its particularities, because to another language, seen by the nature of the language in this input and output process, they cannot be identical in this sentence or in this sense, because it will be necessary to specify three concepts process, namely those of invariance, adequacy, and equivalence. This is very important to use the interlingual translation, which have been defined the very different ways to know and to learn different ways to with these three types. It is not an easy thing, and translation is as successfully when the translator goes beyond the mere translation of words in a literal way and begins to translate with the purpose of expressing both the meaning and the content as well as the nonsense. When it's recognized that the language is not just a set of words or a part of sentences organized in a coherent or a good system way, because a series of grammatical signs is a set of a particular and significant expression and autonomous people and a culture, but is all these are much more intently possible to recognize that all the concrete form of the linguistic activity, because the translation is one of the complex field of analyzing are risky and very challenging because the activity of contrary that to what is usually to believe mastering or one or more foreign language is not sufficient condition for to be able to translate at the professional level because the foreign language are just one of the necessary tools to be able to work in the translation. And in the historical of linguistics, the cognates are those terms that have the same etymological origin but a different phonetic conclusion, and often also a different semantic in the words or in the context to when I read. Thank you for your attention. Have a nice day.